What is up, guys? It's Scoot here. I'm going to do a little overview of my parts for my build, and then I'll actually show you my build. I was going to do like an unboxing slash build video to show you guys, but everything kind of went wrong that day. All my cameras died, family came over, and I just had family leave about an hour ago. So that's why we haven't been posting lately. But we're getting right back on it because I just built this amazing computer. So anyways, guys, let's just get straight into the parts, and then I'll show you the actual build. Okay, and for my motherboard, I went with the Asus SABERTOOTH Z97. It's the LGA 1150 socket, and it's 4K compatible. It was pretty cheap, at least for this type of board anyways. It wasn't, I would say this is like a mid-range board. I wasn't upgrading to an 1151 socket just to save me some money for, you know, gaming and editing purposes. But it's also got the tough armor on it, which I thought was really cool. It's got its own like little fans built into it. So it's actually a pretty cool little motherboard. This is my first build, so I did a lot of research, and this is my favorite board that I came across besides any like ROG board or anything like that. But Asus is a brand that I stick with by heart, so you'll see a few Asus products in this build. Now for my CPU, I went with the Intel i7 4790K. The reason I did this was to go with an 1150 socket instead of a 1151 socket. Saved me some money, and you know, it was just an all-around great reviews, good for gaming, good for editing, and that's really all I needed. I didn't need to go out and spend a bunch of money on a processor. Now for my CPU, I didn't want to go with just a stock CPU cooler. I went with the Hyper 212 Evo. Again, this is like one of the best rated heatsink fans that I could find, and it was very cheap. But once you take it out of the box, it does not feel cheap at all. I've had no problems with cooling. I don't really overclock. I might in the future, but that'll be water cooling, and I didn't want to get into that with my first build. I also saved a little bit of money with the Samsung 500 gig SSD instead of going with an Intel SSD. The reason I did that was mainly just to save money, and it's black, and I have a black and blue color scheme with my build. But I had a lot of great reviews with the Samsung SSD, and like I said, it was mainly just to save some money. But overall, it's no problems with it, and I love it. It's beautiful. Now here's where I spent that extra money that I saved with my CPU and SSD. I went with 32 gigs of 1866 megahertz Dominator Platinums. You cannot go wrong with Dominator Platinums. They're just gorgeous. They got the light bar in them. I went with them mainly because of that. But yeah, there's really not much else you can say besides they are Dominator Platinums. Now for my RAM, again going with a black and blue color scheme, Dominator Platinums actually has a light bar upgrade kit. Now it's not changing the LED color itself, it is changing the bar that goes inside of it, sort of. It changes, you keep the white bar, but then you add like a blue bar that you see right there on those Dominator Platinums. But it illuminates a very nice subtle blue, and really you can't go wrong with anything Dominator Platinum wise. Like I said, I have 2 packs of these because I have 4 8 gig sticks, and yeah, so there's that. Now for my PSU, I went with the Corsair HX1000i 80 plus platinum certified. I went with 1,000 watts mainly because I do plan on having 2 graphics cards, which I'll explain which graphics card and that I plan on doubling up here shortly. I know you guys are probably wondering what graphics card I'm putting in, and I promise you it's beautiful. But yeah, so I went with the HX1000i. It was worth it to me. You know, I do plan on upgrading, so and it also went with the black and blue color scheme that I had going on, and that was actually not really planned. It was just kind of fate that it was actually black and blue when I was looking for 1,000 watts. Now, I did have to upgrade my power supply cables. Well, I didn't necessarily have to because the HX1000i actually comes with very nicely sleeved cables. Not the ketchup and mustard cables with the mesh around it that look really bad unless you don't have a you know, a windowed case or really don't care about your wires. But I went with these Corsair wires here for this power supply, and I mean they're amazing. They're very good quality, very solid, and they definitely aren't flimsy. They were pretty pricey, I guess, but that's what you pay for, you know, quality stuff. Now for my case, I went with the Corsair 760T Graphite series case. It's got the full side window. This thing's absolutely beautiful. Now this was the black and red edition, but I did substitute the fans for blue fans, which I will show you right now. Now for my fans, I went with the Corsair AF120 blue LED fans. The fan that you see sitting below the box is actually the one that came stock in the case. Fairly similar fans, but I don't think they quite meet the same specifications as the AF120s, and they were red LEDs, which really didn't match my build at all. So I went with aftermarket fans, and they keep everything fairly cool. I have 4 of them, and it makes my case stand out that much more. Like I said, that case is absolutely beautiful, and you guys just have to see it for yourself. So here is where all of my money went, and the reason why I got the 1000 watt power supply. The Asus Strix 980 Ti. This thing is an absolute beast. It pretty much is the Titan, but more of like a consumer grade version of the Titan, the $1,000 graphics card. So this thing is awesome. It looks awesome. This is the one red part besides my power button on my case, and the reason I didn't care about the color is just because it's performance. I had to go with performance over color with this part. And this thing, like I said, I'm an Asus fan, and this thing is absolutely gorgeous. You can change the LED, and it comes stock overclocked, and you can mess with all the settings, and it's got like the 3 built-in fans. This thing is amazing. Now for my keyboard and mouse, I stuck with Logitech. I got the Orion Spark G910 keyboard and the Proteus Core G502 mouse. These things are absolutely beautiful. What's nice is Logitech has their own ARX app to where you can actually see your GPU usage, see your CPU usage, and both temperatures actually too, and see your RAM usage. That way you don't have to, you know, worry too much about it. You can just be on your phone, check it just to see how everything's running. And the Orion Spark has the Roamer G keys. They got like the well in the key, so they kind of almost, you know, your fingers just kind of fit to them. And it's really nice. Now it's kind of hard to get used to typing on it because it's so easy to click, and also with them being weld, you can't really find your keys as easy. But you can customize the lighting however you want, and it makes it a lot easier to find. And for the mouse, very easy to use, especially with the Logitech app and software for the computer. You can adjust the DPI and all that great stuff, but I would recommend these to just about anybody. Now for my monitor, I went with the Asus PB287, the 28-inch 4K amazing monitor. You really can't get better than this monitor here. It's pretty cheap for the price. This thing is just amazing. I just put it up actually today, and it's beautiful. The color difference from just a regular 1080p monitor that I'm used to playing on, regular Asus monitors too, same brand, it is a huge difference. 1 millisecond response time. It's just absolutely beautiful, and seriously, if you guys have the cash to put down on a 4K monitor, I would definitely recommend this one. Now here is the build. My wires are a little messy still since I just put it together, but in the front you can see the red power button. Next to that is the reset button. Then there's 2 USB 3 ports, 2 USB 2 ports, and then a fan controller and an audio and a mic jack. Below that I have my optical drive. I have 2 of my cool stickers that came with everything put on there, and then the 2 120mm Corsair AF120 fans. Then you see the big window in the front. I have the Tough Inside sticker placed right there on the bottom right, as well as the Strix sticker, which you'll actually be able to see a little close up here in a minute. So here is the build from the front with all the lights turned off, It might be a little dark, but you can at least see all of the fans, and you can see all of the lights, and you can also see the one red part that I have besides my power button, the 980 Ti Strix. You can see it lighting up, it's flashing red, and you can change that to have different breathing effects, which I think is really cool. So right here you can see the Tough Inside sticker as well as the Strix sticker right above it. The Strix sticker actually kind of, depending on the light, it'll change colors, and I think that's pretty cool too. So anyways, let's actually open it up and show you guys what's inside. So here you guys can see the CPU fan and the RAM. The RAM, just honestly, you'd have to see this in person. It's absolutely gorgeous. Those blue LEDs are amazing. Which you might notice that are a little bit different than the packaging. The packaging shows that the heat sinks are actually silver, but I plasti dipped them black. That way it would fit my black and blue scheme. But then you see that the exhaust fan there. Below the CPU fan, you see the 980 Ti. Again, that thing is just awesome the way that it lights up. Below that, you see my power supply with all the cables. Cable management could be just a little bit better, but it was my first build, so I gave myself a little slack. Then there's an intake on the bottom and the two intakes on the front. As we come up, my SSD is actually kind of tucked back there below the optical drive, and there is the optical drive. It's pretty plain, but like I said, I do plan on upgrading and adding another 980 Ti. Maybe eventually upgrading the power supply if I need to. And I do plan on adding some hard drives and not just an SSD, obviously, because one 500 gig SSD is not going to be enough for gaming and editing, but it gets me by for right now until I buy the rest. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, leave a like. Be sure to comment, subscribe, share with all your friends. Leave down in the comments below. Give me an idea of what you guys think. If you think I should change anything, what you guys liked or disliked about my build, and maybe give me some tips. Since it was my first build, tell me what I can do a little differently, or if I could change anything up inside of here, and maybe either make it better performance-wise or whatever you guys think. So. It was kind of an experiment for me. I wanted to build a desktop. I've been working with a laptop for forever. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this, like I said. And until next time, guys, we'll see you later.